We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitter, Rumble. We'll be live on Rockfin shortly. As soon as that little red button comes, I am joined by Ian and Fake Trump here. As you can see in the picture that he has as his profile picture here, that he is representing an image that he took an event where he went to the Libertarian convention in Georgia this weekend to scope out the competitors. And he did some line dancing with some ladies in their 70s. He sung a little karaoke to them, and he did all he could to make America great again. It was quite an interesting time for sure, and I want to talk about it a little bit. Ian, there you go. Ian, looks like you're in the Married with Children.
I know. Yeah, get me there.
I'm just on break right now. I'm on break we're on dinner break right now, but I'm in the new Married with Children reboot.
Oh, the reboot, and yet you're not a black female in a wheelchair starring as the lead.
Well, I am. They put me in a green screen suit.
Oh, they green screen you.
Yeah, they green screen it over.
That's how they do it these days. All of these leads are actually white males. Wearing green screen suits. Yeah. Come again, Mr. Former President?
He's like the new Andy Serkis.
Of course.
I'm the comedy Andy Serkis.
I don't know who that is.
He played Gollum and Darth Maul.
He played King Kong, Brad. He played King Kong, one of the most iconic creatures in all of film history.
All right, I got you. Well, let's talk a little bit about what went on at the Georgia convention this weekend, the Libertarian convention, and I co-moderated the presidential primary debate, the Libertarian debate, with Clint Russell of Liberty Lockdown podcast and Tower Gang podcast, and it was interesting. Overall, I think I've watched all of the previous debates that were online anyway, and this, to me, got the most intense performance out of the debaters, the candidates, overall of the other ones, and it started off a little bit slow, but then it got heated and it got a lot of fun, and it was definitely more entertaining, I think, than all of the other debates, which is what I was hoping for. But you think about what you would do different, after stuff like this, and there was something that happened right before the debate that I thought about starting with, and I think I probably would have started with it if I had to do it all over again in the aftermath. Here's what happened. One of the candidates, Mike Tremont, who is the former police officer who worked in the White House, I think he worked with one of Bush's campaigns. Bush won in the late 80s, maybe. He was a communications person. Then he was an economist later.
Mike the Matt.
Yeah, Mike the Matt. And I don't remember whose White House it was, but he's worked at the White House, the World Bank, and then he became a police officer for 11 years. He has an interesting story, and he's actually got a lot of really interesting policy ideas. He would be a good candidate, but he's also the one who, as Toad, another debater who is also a candidate, said, is most likely to be viewed as a Fed when you look. Because what I was thinking going into this thing is, all right, how many Feds are going to be there? Because, there's at least a couple Feds there. And, maybe they would throw us off and go another way with it. But it was funny because Toad did say that Mike Tremont's a Fed during the debate.
Hilarious.
It was hilarious.
Which makes you think that it might be the person you least expect. Maybe that frog pie. Maybe he's
maybe Toad is, right?
Yeah, if you spot it, you got it, right?
Yeah, I thought Toad did a good job being the disruptor in that debate. Actually, I thought he played a unique and important function.
Well, if you come in there with a name like Toad, you better disrupt the hell out of it.
He did.
Not all of us, Brad. I don't know if we all agree with you, especially people like myself who take running for president of the United States to be a very serious matter and a very serious job for serious people.
Well, I think that now, from my perspective, it's gotten so cartoonish and ridiculous, and these candidates have gotten so robotic in their performances that it's good, I think, now, especially after seeing that. I was a little unsure of what to expect as well, but after seeing the way that he handled it, and he knew what he's talking about with a lot of information. Now, he threw a few bombs in there, as Chase pointed out, but I don't have a problem with that because they're going to get a few bombs lobbed at them if they're going to make it to the main stage. So sure. I thought it I didn't mind it. I thought it was fun.
This Clint guy, the vice president of the Libertarian Party, he and the frog guy, they do their thing together, right? They do the podcast together.
I believe they do a podcast together. Yeah, yeah, I think they're on the Tower Game together.
I just find that to be a little coincidental.
Well, so you're saying you
With,
find there?
with
Get what?
Trump being the leader in the polls and everything, and leading the entire Libertarian Party, with the vice president, debating his.
He just announced his vice presidency, and again, I actually don't have a problem with that either. Like I think that you can challenge. He's going to have inside knowledge that I might not have, and I think challenging these guys and putting them in conflict situations is a good thing, which is why I didn't have a problem with it. We can get back to that in a second. Let me tell what happened right before the debate real quick, because this is something that anybody who was at the debate listening doesn't know anything about, that I would like to tell them about, outside of a couple people I told. Mike Termott, when I met him in the lobby, I introduced myself, and he obviously didn't know that I was the co-moderator of the debate, because he was a little bit of a prick. Kind of, maybe he was focused on the debate. I don't know, but it was kind of like, who's this guy talking to me? Why are you bothering me? And so then I walked off into the other room, and our friend Josh, who was there, who you are familiar with, Mr. President, he overheard.
He's going to name your deep throat there.
My deep throat. He overheard Mike Termott say to his buddy, he heard him say, 2.5 hours for a debate, which it was a long debate. We did that on purpose. 2.5 hours is stupid, because none of these other guys can last more than 20 minutes than me. And when he told me that, I was like, oh my God, I got to open with that. I got to start the thing with that and start the conflict right away. But I wavered, and then I didn't do it because I thought it'd be a dick move. But in the aftermath of it, I'm like, maybe it would have been the right move, because it would have got them going at each other a little bit sooner. But I just thought it was so interesting that happened right before the debate. What were you going to say, Mr. President?
I just can't believe that you named your source like that. You're going to have less whistleblowers coming to you and giving you the truth.
I'm all about
transparency. You're just exposing who they are.
What am I going to be? The mainstream media citing a source, familiar with a source, who's across the street from a source, familiar with the other source's thinking. No, I can't do that. I got to be a little more transparent.
I bet if that Mike the Man is listening, he's not a very happy guy right now.
Well, here's the thing. If there are any of the candidates listening, the one that's least likely to be listening is Mike Termott. I can guarantee you that. Mike Termott comes off very much as a police officer. Nice guy when you talk to him afterwards, but there's an air about him that is so I brought up during the debate, Ian, if you can still hear. I brought up during the debate. And I tried to actually had things for every single candidate. We didn't get to all of them. In fact, I only got to, I think, a couple of them. I had things that I thought people who might be their target audience would have a problem with voting for them. So I would try to point those out in questions, as like Clint did as well, when he pointed out to what's his name, Hornberger, about you should look into the vaccine stuff because people care about that, and you should look into the COVID response stuff. I would try to point out things that I thought would be deal breakers for people. And one that I pointed out for Mike Termott was that he, on his website, associates Trump with the big lie. He uses the big lie language, which is propaganda designed coming from the top, coming from Joe Biden himself, who calls it the big lie, the mainstream media, designed to associate Trump with Hitler and prevent people from looking in to anything about the 2020 election, which we know what happens with that. If you ask any questions about it that are uncomfortable, you get your YouTube video demonetized, maybe even you get it taken down, maybe even you get a strike on it. I've gotten strikes on my channel, despite the fact that there have been legitimate investigations and legitimate findings from Garland Favorito and Voter GA, who is on this show on a regular basis, like once a month or so, talking about what's going on with the ongoing legal challenges. And for someone to have that mainstream media talking point on there, I thought that anybody who recognizes that is going to be, I'm done. I can't vote for this guy. And he didn't. What did you think about that interaction, Mr. President?
I do want to say I love that Garland. Great
Garland
guy.
Favorito, Voter GA, that's right.
Very, very unbiased. He's been doing it for a long time. That they drove a wrecking ball through him like they do everybody else. What was the question, though, Brad?
I was wondering what you thought of the interaction with Mike Termott when I asked him about how he promotes the idea that Trump is spreading the big lie.
Oh, the big lie. Yeah, it's easy for people that are Hitler to compare other people to Hitler. Talking about Joe Biden, not Mike the Man. He's not powerful enough to be Hitler.
I
Nor
mean,
is
it
he
takes a
charming
Hitler.
enough, but he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. We like him. He's just like talking to a stiff wall.
I mean, yeah, it takes one to know one, right? It takes a Hitler to know a Hitler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe that's my bubble because I've been talking with Garland and looking at the voter GA stuff for so long. But I just feel like if you're out there promoting the same mainstream talking points that are clearly propaganda, then you're going to have a hard time winning the libertarian vote, which is a very skeptical group to begin with.
Oh yeah, probably the most skeptical group. I mean, you had someone.
I just can't believe that somebody who's a police officer would do it either.
Well, that's another.
It was so skeptical. There's such a skeptical group. You just explained that one candidate accused the other of being a Fed.
That was Toad, and Toad.
And that is hilarious. A hilarious level of skepticism. I love it.
So I thought he did a good job coming in. Yeah, go ahead.
Toad the wet sprocket.
So Mr. President here came in at the end of the debate, Ian, and he did a fantastic job. I don't even remember all of the lines you had because I was laughing so hard at what you were saying. But you associated Lars Mapstead with Metallica, I believe.
The tweet got the joke wrong. They said he looks like a Metallica fan. What I said was, hey, we've got Lars here from Metallica.
Right, yeah.
Because the drummer of Metallica is named Lars Ulrich.
Yes.
Very talented young man. Very talented.
Very talented. And Lars, who is so I asked Lars after the show because every time I click on another candidate's Twitter profile, I see one of Lars's ads. Like every time, it's crazy. I was like, "How do you do that, dude?" And he's like, "I'm investing in it," and which he's getting the word out on social media. He's a tech entrepreneur, and so one of the questions I had for him, which I did not get to, which I hope to have them on the show to talk about some of this stuff, was a cyber security privacy related question, and so Lars, and I don't know. This is from what I read. So anything that I'm incorrect about that, he can correct the record on when he comes on the show. But I believe some of the businesses he started was like a friend finder type thing that they realized along the way that people were using it to hook up with people, which is what people do with online stuff. That's like Craigslist, it's what people do. And so they turned that into adult friend finder. And it wasn't just him. He had a partner, I believe. And my question associated with that is in 2016, I don't know if he was still associated with the company at this point, but since he was part of creating it, in 2016, Adult Friend Finder, which is a hookup site, it was hacked. And it was I think like 8 or 9 times the size of the Ashley Madison hack. And that it released all these emails of people, and I think thousands of them were .gov emails and military emails. I'm starting to think, okay, so depending on who this hack was, those emails, these people could be compromised. They could be contacted. There was some extortion that went on with people whose emails were leaked. And so my question for him around that would be, what would his policy be on, what would he do about like the privacy concerns, especially with technology causing so much disruption in our lives as it is right now? I don't know that there's an answer to that, but I would be curious to hear what his position is on it, since he has a connection to a hack that happened like that. Not that he did it. I mean, everybody's been, but what's that thing called? It's called I'veBeenOwned.com or something like that. You can go see how many times your email's been hacked. It's crazy.
Know about that.
Yeah, I guarantee you, every email you've ever had and password has been hacked by somebody. It's wild. So that's when I was unable to get to there. So Lars, his whole thing is unrig the system, and I thought he did a good job. I thought he was pretty. What I like to see from all the candidates, I wanted them jumping in to like interrupt each other a little bit. I think that you can't really have a good debate unless they're jumping in and interrupting each other a little bit. Once it got to that, it felt like it was really going. And I will say this, though, when I started off, what I envisioned, and it didn't hit exactly the way I wanted it to. A couple of them did it well. Is I wanted them to talk to me like I was someone who was I don't care about. I don't like talking about economics. I've never read Murray Rothbard or I've never read Harry Brown. I'm just a dude in a bar who is tired of the bullshit, who hates fucking inflation, and he's tired of the like. I hate the right and left, and I hate that they lie to us all the time. And I haven't been inspired to vote since Ron Paul. And talk to me like that person who is not already a member of the Libertarian Party and win me over to the Libertarian Party. Go ahead.
That's a real shame, Brad. If you wanted me to talk to you like you were a guy at a bar, I could do it very easily. Very, very easily.
You do that very well. And so I asked them to, you have 90 seconds to win me over. And it kind of turned in for some of them into an opening statement, which I wanted to avoid that happening. I probably should have framed it a little bit differently. A few of them, most of them tried to do it. The guy who did it best was Joshua Smith. He did a great job. He's very good at talking relatably to people. So I think that's,
he looks exactly
he
like
does.
you.
He looks a lot like you, Ian.
He looks exactly like you. I walked up to him and I said, "Candidate for president, Ian Covell," and he said, "No, I'm not."
Yeah.
But I watch his show. That's what he said. He watches the show.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
Yeah. So he knew who you were. Yeah, he does. So it's like you with a little bit of a goatee.
Maybe I'll grow a goatee.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll grow a goatee.
You got the mole and everything. You should watch him. You could probably do an impersonation of him.
My mother used to call it a beauty mark.
Yeah, that's what it's in the Cindy Crawford that has the beauty mark.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're just like Cindy Crawford.
Oh yeah, right. Chase Oliver. That guy's got a beauty mark too.
Yeah.
So Chase Oliver actually does a good Trump impersonation. So the first night we were there, we were meeting with Jake in the cafeteria room where they were holding it. They were holding it at it was like a veterans. What was the name of the place? Do you remember?
VMW, Brad.
The VMW, which was really cool place.
VMW, not VMW.
Not VMW. Not BMW.
Wars.
Yes, right. It was really cool because they had 2 nights in a row. We go to this place and it's packed full of like 70-year-olds partying. And Mr. President here did some electric slide.
Yeah, I did the electric slide with about 27-year-old ladies. Very lovely ladies. Very good at the electric slide. I wasn't as good. As good, but they were very good.
So Z Varnell says,
woogie out there.
Says Chase does a good Brian Kemp impersonation too. That's Brian Kemp, right?
Brian Kemp.
Yeah. So I immediately knew, Ian, when we met Chase, that he was a theater guy. And I asked him. I was like, yeah, he would fit right in at every improv theater we've ever.
Yeah, he got up and he did zip zap zop with Brad.
Until politics came out.
I asked my friend who was there. Yeah, I said, should we open with, all right, let's start with a little zip zap zop, word at a time story, guys. But yeah, so Chase, to Chase's advantage, so Chase is the one who went over the time the most, which, again, ideally in a debate, what I would like to see is you don't even need a clock. You see that you pass the focus and you jump in and you are able to, just like we do it in improv when we rehearse like stuff like this. And I said, even at the beginning, the people who say the most interesting stuff are probably going to get the most time.
Chase is very articulate.
And so Chase's advantage is his passion in his delivery. Although he did go like he might have taken it up a little too far during the debates, but he also got a number of rounds of applause, as did the others. I thought everybody did a good job, actually. But so for Chase
won the Iowa caucus, right?
He did. But so how it's chosen, the candidate, I believe, is. And I was telling the truth at the beginning of the debate that I'm not. I was like, look, I'm not a libertarian. I probably would be, that's probably where I align the most with, but I'm nothing. And I've been inspired to vote for no presidential candidate.
It's the island of misfit toys. It's where a lot of people just kind of end up.
Right. And I agree with a lot of their
broad spectrum, just like with the people with that spectrum disease.
Are you talking about autism? Is that what you're saying?
That's the one.
Yes. A lot of them say that they're autistic, which I don't know. I don't know what the spectrum is. Maybe we're all a little bit autistic.
They should start a campaign, Libertarians for Autism or Autism for Libertarians.
That actually might not be a bad idea. I don't know what the size of that.
I usually tell people, Brad, you might want to get into this. That's a good idea. Instead of saying that might actually not be a bad idea. You're implying that they might have a bad idea.
That might be a great idea. That's what I'm trying to figure out with the Libertarian Party is who their target audience is. Like, who are they? there's a bunch of independent voters who are tied, just kind of like I described at the beginning of the debate, who are done with both the left and right parties and are winnable to libertarians. But that's also kind of a wide spectrum of people. I'm trying to understand who they're trying to communicate with their messages. I felt like mostly they were trying to communicate in the debate to the delegates that were already libertarians. That's why I wanted to get them to speak more in terms of people who are outside the because they have to have the delegates to. I think the delegates select. You guys correct me if I'm wrong in the chats here.
I want to tell somebody in the chat there, JC. I completely see where you could get the Penn and Teller resemblance to Lars. He does look a lot like Penn.
He does, yeah. He
Ponytail and all, and the magic tricks that he does.
Totally. Yeah, so I don't know who their target market is when it comes to people outside the Libertarian Party. And from all the goals that I know they're a little bit divided within there, but all their goals seem to be we need to grow the party. And so, like, I would look for somebody if I was a delegate. And again, I'm not part of the Libertarian Party, but I would look for somebody who represented the values that I did. And again, that's up for debate based on which candidate you side with. And I would look for the person who could communicate those in the best way that made people go, holy shit, I would like to be a part of that. And it was like the guy who did the least good at this. Mike Tremont, I'll give him credit. He actually tried, but he's just so robotic that it's hard for him to be. It's hard to see him as anything other than a cop. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's the short-sightedness of all the parties is that they forget that the candidate needs to be voted on by the majority of people who aren't in a party, right? So that's who you should be looking for as your prime candidate, electability with the general public. And they all lose sight of that.
Well, I'd say most of them, it can be easy to get like put into that you can just tell that they're I can't imagine doing what they're doing. I mean, it would be like so challenging, but you can tell that you get into this mode of it's like with improv. It's like improv versus doing a script. Improv, you got to be in the moment. Script, you got to be in the moment, but you're just reciting that. And for Jacob Hornberger, Top Lobster, he says favorite part of the debate was how flustered the panel was, minus Toad, when Trump came up, which I thought was
they heard the footsteps coming.
It was so God. We were so worried that everybody's gonna be mad.
Rolls.
Ian, Justin, welcome, Justin.
Justin, what's going on, Ridgeway?
What's up, guys?
At the end of the debate, we had planned it, and those guys at Libertarian Party let us do it. We were gonna have Trump come up and interrupt, and it worked out perfectly because the night before, Chase was telling us how he would handle Trump on stage, and so I was like, all right, that's our segue to bringing Trump up. And so I kind of framed it as a bonus question that would come up. And I was like, up until the moment it happened, I was like, are they going to get super pissed at us or what's going to happen? But Trump came up and he totally killed it. And Toad, who actually called for January 6th to be a national holiday during the debate.
I mean, I agree with him. I completely agree with him there. A lot of people are being held without trial unconstitutionally.
Yeah, we had Ridgeway. We had the candidates. We had a guy. I don't know his full name. I know he's part of the Tower Gang pod, just like Top Lobster here. He was up there debating. He had no shoes on, and he was there to disrupt. And I was saying earlier that I didn't know what to expect, but I love the way that he handled it. I thought he did a good job as a disruptor. And I think that's necessary for the way this shit happens right now to break up the monotony of the scripts that they deliver.
Did anybody get a good look at his feet? I hope he got a pedicure before
he's going to be all over the foot fetish websites by now.
Is his name Barefoot Bill?
I don't think so.
Barefoot Bill.
Is that a cat photo you have behind you, Ridgeway? What is that?
Hey, Brad, how do I get the link to this particular show to say tweet it out to people?
Well, let me just youtube.com/Brad Binkley, and you'll find it there. Try that one.
Yeah.
So,
and if not, look him up in the yellow pages.
So, Ian,
it's under B. And if it's not there, then it's under B.
Totally.
So check there.
So, Cop City, Ian, you're familiar with Cop City. I don't know how familiar everybody was with Cop City, but I know it's on Chase's page and he champions it. And Cop
Okay.
City it's one of those issues where our progressive friends really champion Cop City. Like the progressive friends who think all white people are MAGA, all white people are racist MAGA.
Right.
And Chase kind of championed that. And so I asked Chase about, like, is that astroturfed? What about the people over there in the forest who we saw videos of them, using military type techniques? And so I think that's where Chase loses. So I think the coronavirus thing and I think Cop City is what is going to be hard for him. Although I think it would be interesting.
So he's for Cop City or not?
He was a champion of Cop City. At the Capitol. He led a protest for it. He was because it's all about opposing the police state, which that is a libertarian position. Which is so he's like I don't want to say Mike Tremont is opposite of police reform, because he does have some good police reform ideas. It's just this whole fucking big lie shit that I just don't think you can get over that. And with Chase, I think it's similar. I think it's the Cop City. And also I found a few tweets. People kept pulling up Chase's old tweets during the debate, and he got mad about it. He got really, because Chase. So I didn't ask Chase, and I thought Chase did a good job, and he seems like a nice guy. Chase, his Twitter account started in 2020, and I want to see the Twitter account before 2020. You know what I mean?
Hey, look, all I'm saying is he can't get that upset. People pull up old tweets all the time.
Right.
That's
right.
true.
I mean, that's part of the game. It's part of the game. If you're going to be on there, you're already exposed. Like
Mr. President, I need to ask you, I saw that photo of your hand with the red blashes on it. Did you grab the wrong chick by the pussy?
I always grab the ones by the pussies, whether it's got kicked or not.
Right, you don't even check. Gloves, no mask on your hand. You grab away.
Who would wear a mask on their hand, Brad? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I have no
That's
idea.
true. That's true. There's no
But it was
a hand mask.
It was frostbite. I was outside for more than 10 minutes.
You got syphilis on your hand from frostbite.
Yeah.
It cracks the skin, Brad.
All right, so it would be interesting. So Clint, who co-moderated, he's a vice presidential candidate. Top, is there other vice presidential candidates in the? I don't know. So it would be interesting if Clinton and Chase were partnered together. It would be pretty funny, because they're kind of polar opposite ends of the Libertarian Party. But yeah, Josh is the best at talking like person to person. Toad is a very good disruptor. We have Michael Rechtenwald. So Michael Rechtenwald is a former professor who was canceled. I don't know what it was that he said, but he was a Marxist at the time. And this comes up in every debate, because a lot of libertarians, they have a problem with that. And so he's had to address it, and I'm sure he'll have to continue to address it. But he's the Mises Caucus candidate, I believe. And he that's what they have a problem. So he's like a great reset. The cancel culture is toxic. They're destroying our first, and he's right. Like he's correct in all of those things, like his positions. It's his past that is going to be a problem, probably for some of the delegates that he has to overcome. He's a smart guy, but I don't know. What do you think about that, Ian, Justin? Somebody who, it was 7-8 years ago, he was a Marxist. He had his eyes open. This is a story, because he was canceled for speaking freely about, I think, some of the shit going on.
How old is he? How old is he?
He has a grandkid.
Okay, so up until 7 or 8 years ago, he was a Marxist, and now his eyes have been opened. What was the inciting incident?
He was canceled from New York University as a professor, and I think he was calling out some of the woke shit. I don't know exactly what it was.
So, but Marxism is, I mean, how did he come about? Like, how does he come around on the economic part of it? I don't understand how that you understand what I'm getting at? I don't see how that would influence.
Well, yeah. So some of his criticisms, he was criticized at one point for donating to Trump, and he was also criticized for being a Marxist. Although Chase was a progressive, and the argument's going to be we all came from different areas. That's what the libertarians made up of, like island of misfit toys, so to speak. I've always been on that island personally. Zach says that presidential candidates who lose often drop down and run for VP. Okay, so I'm guessing they select the VP after they select which that makes sense. The vice president, but very interesting. He's got good positions. It's going to be overcoming that within the Libertarian Party to get chosen.
So
and
you're talking about this Rechtenwald, right?
Rechtenwald, yeah. He wrote a
seems
book
like a
about the
very-
Great Reset and stuff like that.
I guess what
Rectum.
what I get curious about when someone makes that drastic of a change is I just want to know why, because I want to know, I
Hey,
want to
it's
make
Grumpy Gnome.
I want to make sure that I want to ask them, like, are you sure you were so sure you were right then? What makes you so sure you're right now?
Right. And yeah, Top says you can be wrong.
Yeah, sure.
An idiot most of your life and change your mind and still intensely unqualified to lead. Yeah, I it's a tough thing to overcome. He does. So he talks about in some of his responses about how you can't be the nominee if you didn't see through like the propaganda. I can't remember exactly how he phrased it during the COVID thing, which is something. There was a vaccine divide on the panel, which it got really heated, and it was interesting to watch. Like I loved the conflict. I really loved the conflict. It was.
Oh, hey, can we go back real quick though?
Yeah.
Because I mean, Ian, what about like a Satanist who sees the light and becomes a Christian? Are you going to think of them less as a Christian because they were a Satanist at a different point in time?
I don't think that's an equivalent. I mean, there's a whole other set of factors that go into changing from someone from a Satanist to a Christian.
Did you used to be a Satanist, Ian?
Didn't I tell
Hell
you?
yeah, dude.
No, I was never a Satanist.
You son of a bitch.
The only Satanist I ever knew was this like 21-year-old stand-up comic who was just rebelling against, I think. Like
yeah, I don't think anyone really is a real Satanist. I think they're doing it to just be pains in the ass.
They're doing it to be, it's like Antifa.
Yeah, they're just doing it to be a pain in the ass. Whatever.
That's another thing about Chase is those protesters in the woods. They're all, whether they are or not, they're all associated with Antifa. And so to be the champion of that cause, it's like, how do you square that? There's Antifa and then.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. That's what I didn't understand. So you're saying Chase was part of the Stop Cop City.
He was not in the woods protesting, but he was at the Capitol saying that we need to stop Cop City.
Kids are there to die.
Okay, that's what I didn't understand. I thought you were saying he was for
He
Cop
sent
City.
wave after wave of men.
No, he opposes Cop City. Yeah,
Okay,
right.
okay.
He's not, but he's also not the one handcuffing himself to there. Today, there's another story about these Cop City protesters, and so I asked him if this is it's clearly astroturf.
If he was funding the concerts that were going on in there, like who's giving them the money to do all this stuff?
What concerts?
They're in your backyard, Ridgeway. You should go to them. They're free. They're at Stop Cop City rallies.
I haven't been over in that area in a long time.
Yeah.
I used to get scared, though.
So it's like so Top says an atheist who now believes in God is great, but they should go to the back of the bus in terms of reaching the masses. So like a baby Christian is not the best spokesman for Christianity. It sounds like what you're saying, Top. But that's a good point. Jacob Hornberger. Have we talked about him yet?
So what Top believes is that Rechtenwald should be in the back of the bus when it comes to being a spokesperson for libertarian values.
Perhaps. Sounds like what he believes. Now, Jacob Hornberger did his most exciting work in his post-debate videos that he made on the way home. He made like these 3 post-debate. He's like a 74-year-old guy who's been running for a libertarian president for like 30 years or something.
Oh, the Hornburglar?
The Hornburglar. And
the Hornburglar, dude.
He like, first of all, he got mad about a couple of things. One of them was he made this argument in a previous debate because, and I don't even care about the position. I was like focused on the messaging. Like I was focused on how are you going to communicate this messaging to somebody who's not already a libertarian and doesn't give a shit about like the infighting, if that's what your goal is. And it seems like that's what they want to do. He made an argument that Social Security should be cut off abruptly instead of having an off ramp to ease the problems that happen once you cut off these welfare programs. And nobody disagrees they should be ended. His argument was they should be ended abruptly, and then he said everybody would be fine. And the way you know everybody would be fine is because the slaves were fine right after the Civil War.
Yeah, that's not a convincing argument.
That's what I'm saying, so that's what I was trying to tell him, and ask him to present in a different way. I didn't want to hear what he believed about Social Security. That's not what I wanted to hear. I wanted him to convince, because I agree that people, private organizations, and people will jump in and help and take over and do better than the government at helping people in these areas. But you're not convincing anybody that day one everybody's going to be fine when that's the argument you're using.
Did he drop out of the race?
I don't know. Did he?
Because, there was that rumor swirling around that you ended his political career.
Well, somebody said me, and somebody said Clint on social media because of the vaccine question that Clint asked, and that Toad asked. So Toad asked the vaccine question. Clint asked the vaccine question. When I was to make my notes, I was like, what if I just opened with asking about a vaccine, because I know it's divisive, but I decided I didn't want to do that. I wanted to know what they would recommend. I did get to ask that.
I like the guy saying that it's none of your business.
Well,
it isn't.
Yeah, it is none of your business, but so this is where I think the messaging was more towards in the Libertarian Party is. So after this happened, it was there's going around Twitter a little bit that somebody who fell for the vaccine thing or got vaccinated was can't be the Libertarian nominee. Now whether you agree with that or not, I don't know. For me,
I don't agree with that. That's silly. That's silly.
What Hornberger's position was that bothered me was he didn't even want to look into it. Like he didn't know. He didn't want to investigate what went on. He didn't want to hold Fauci. Go ahead.
I think if someone initially, like if you spent more than 3 months convinced, then you were an idiot, right? But I think at the beginning, there were a lot of people dealing with the available information that they had, and you cannot blame them for maybe an initial reaction. But I think pretty quickly most people woke up,
Right. So Jake says he's editing the debate, and he said Hornberger did a better job than he initially thought, though he disagrees with everything he said. So Hornberger's an experienced debater, that's for sure. But it was actually, I thought he wasn't happy about it, but it was good to shake him out of his talking points. So when I was asking everybody to talk to me,
cool.
the Hornberger is the only one who didn't look at me. He's the one who looked out to.
I would have totally hit a doobie with him out in the parking lot.
There's no way he'd ever do a doobie, dude.
That's not. Look at your comments, Brad. Look at your comments. Read the comments.
I thought you were saying you would smoke a doobie, Mr. President.
Hey, you know what I told you? I go wild in Georgia. That's the only place.
He did go wild. What was your favorite part of the debate, Mr. President? Was it dancing with those 70-year-old ladies doing the electric slide?
Singing America by Neil Diamond, was a lot of fun. Supposedly you got a video somewhere. I don't know if you
I do have a video. Yes.
It's pretty acceptable to you. It's just you have access to it. Accessible.
Yeah, no, I got it. We'll get it up. We'll get it online. We also we have you interrupting to people didn't know what the hell was going on the first night when what was the guy's name we were talking to?
Tom. The guy, the second in command at the VFW.
Yes, yeah.
He's my new best friend.
Yeah, he was great. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a fun event. I loved how excited everybody got. I don't know who I would say won.
What was it, Tom or Jim?
I can't remember what it was exactly. It was a lot. It might have been Jim.
I think it's Jim.
Who do you guys that were there think won, if you had to say who won the debate?
Yeah, let's hear it from the comments.
Jim. Yeah, Jim was great.
Jim Kloss, I think.
So Jim got to tell him. I got to talking to Jim before we left, and we were there talking to him till probably midnight. And Jim's telling me how he was basically he was a secret spy, and he's got all this classified information. He can't tell me. I'm like, how did you do it? How did you take out the Russian? He's like, I can't tell you. Every question I got blackballed from Jim by the end of the night.
That grumpy gnome keeps chiming in. I really liked meeting him. He was a fun guy, that grumpy gnome.
Yeah, so I have an exclusive here from Jake. The debate will be live on all platforms tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome.
Jake Green, an exceptional cinematographer, editor, does a great job. He's got some movies and documentaries on Amazon. Check him out. JC, how Josh Smith did. I thought Josh Smith, I thought he did well. I think Josh is the best at the whole group at communicating to people who aren't already libertarians. And that's what you need, honestly. I don't know what kind of pairings for presidential and vice presidential candidates would you guys like to see who are in the chats. COVID. Yeah, a lot of people in that group knew the COVID thing. I wanted to hear. I know that the vaccine question it was a good way to get people. I mean, I think that's what set Chase off.
Sure.
I think. For me personally, I don't care. Like I think the vaccine. I don't think it was designed to kill everybody. I think it was an experiment, and I think it was just they don't care if it harms people. I think it was more likely to harm the people that they gave it to first, the older people. I'm not vaccinated. I can totally see why somebody might have. My parents got vaccinated. There was a lot of pressure because they were in. My mom had an illness for 18 years. It was a rare illness, and they had a lot of pressure coming. And I talked to them about maybe waiting a little bit, and it was a very tough situation for a lot of people. And I can see both sides of the argument that was going there. What I wanted to know was, would you go on TV like Biden did, and would you get the vaccine and promote it to other people with your influence as president? And to Chase's credit, he eventually said no, he wouldn't do that. It's just so the candidates they have so many things in common, but then the things they don't have in common, they're just polar opposites.
Right. Well, it was always bizarre when you'd see a politician or a famous person take the vaccine in public, like on TV. It almost felt like they were trying to be your mommy or your daddy. And it was very weird, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And the stickers, I hated the stickers.
Like you were a little kid, and this was gonna be. Look, it doesn't hurt.
So how
very
do we
weird.
find out who won the debate in Georgia?
Well, we have Buddy says he liked Josh. He's a delegate, and he liked Josh in the debate. We have Buddy also says he'd like to see a Smith Russell ticket. That'd be
Kurt
good.
Russell?
Well, he's been called Kurt Russell on Twitter the past couple of days because when Hornberger made his post-debate videos, he kept accidentally calling Clint Kurt Russell. So there's a meme.
I like
going
that
around.
Kurt Russell. Really talented guy.
Right. That's funny. Thomas says he thinks Josh won the Arizona debate. Biden, Grumpy says he thinks Biden got the saline vaccine.
That's probably highly probable.
And Chase still trusts his doctor. So that was something they got out of Chase. The thing with your doctor, man, is you always got to question your doctor. I told a story on Twitter about a doctor telling me I was going to die because I wasn't vaccinated when I brought in an actual published study that identified a condition my dad had developed shortly after he got vaccinated, interstitial lung disease, as being one of the actual side effects that they acknowledged at the time. And the guy flipped out. I mean, completely flipped out. He tried to shame me, told me I was going to die multiple times. And we had to go find another doctor who was actually open to it. But even at the other doctor, they refused to let me in because I wasn't vaccinated. The doctor had to walk me into the room with my dad because she knew it was fucking bullshit.
So,
and yeah.
Brad, are you worried about your ACL then?
About tearing my ACL? I play a lot of football. Unvaccinated, I could tear my ACL just like Aaron Rodgers.
And unvaccinated, well, it's a side effect of being unvaccinated. So all you unvaxxed people out there, just make sure you're wearing ankle braces or whatever.
Yeah. Denver on Rockfin says you've always had to question your doctor, and I completely agree. Because doctors, it's hard to be doctors and keep up with the latest research, and doctors are only going to help you to the limits of their knowledge. And once they see something that they can't find within their mind from what they learned, which is they've stopped learning at a certain point. Then they're going to tell you there's nothing that they could do. My mom was told she'd die in 2 years. She lived 18 years longer because my dad and my mom were smart enough to continue to question and to know that there are people out there who have other ideas.
You got to have a good
with
poker.
Thomas Tammer.
Yeah. And Biden got the semen vax.
You got the semen vax.
Yeah.
Who got that? That one's foolproof, right?
Biden got the semen vax.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
Right in his butthole.
Right. Mr. President, what were your takeaway thoughts from the debate?
I like that Josh a lot. I liked him a lot. I thought that Chase Oliver did a very good job. Very personable. Very human up there. I gotta say, I think you may have ended the Hamburglar's career. Um, and then Wrecking Wall seems like an interesting guy. He's a lot more personable off stage than he comes across on stage. On stage, he didn't have much charisma to him. He looked down a lot.
Well, I tell you what I liked about Reckenwald on stage is he would turn his body towards the person talking and listen, like really listen, and that I liked that. A couple times Termont, you could say he wasn't really listening. I just like the idea that he was trying to listen and engage. Mike the Mat,
he's gonna take you to the mat, Brad.
Yeah, I think so. I like all of them talking to him before and after. I thought they were
that Hamburglar though. He was the one that you asked him, hey, talk to me like you're talking to a guy at a bar, and immediately he just started politicking and yelling at the
audience. Didn't even listen to it, did he? Like he just did it. He went. I was trying to avoid doing the opening statements. I didn't want that, and he just went right into that shit. And I interrupted him briefly during it.
Yeah, you go. Hey, remember, I'm a guy at a bar.
And a couple times, Ian, when they started going into their bullshit, like actually it was Hornberger, I'd be like, guy in the bar just killed himself, dude.
And Brad's a very animated moderator. I'd love to have you, on the big stage, Brad.
Oh, you would? You don't have Jake Tapper.
I can't take Jake Tapper.
Yeah, so
Jake
it was
Tapper's
fun.
A real douchebag.
You don't like Jake Tapper?
No, I think we were talking about this on another episode, but they should really have moderators like Chris Rock. Not Chris Rock, Kid Rock.
Kid Rock.
Kid Rock. And Chris Rock.
And The Rock.
Yeah, Chris Rock, Kid Rock.
The Rock.
And The Rock. That should be one night.
Yeah.
One night, all the Rocks.
It's all the Rocks.
Triple Rock.
The Rocks moderate the 2024 debate.
Did Reckenwald sound like the nerdy scientist from The Simpsons? I'm not familiar with that. Are you, Mr. President?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
We have Grumpy. He ranked Toad and then Chase. Josh Toad and then Chase as his top three.
Is there a guy whose
I can't take Toad seriously. I'm sorry. I can't put him up there. You think
is his real name Toad?
I mean,
at
the end of the day, what can any of them take me on anyway? But I would destroy Toad 20 seconds.
I don't know. Honestly, I think that the only one that might be able to really hang with you might be Toad because he doesn't care about winning.
Well, you know what? Maybe we should see that debate sometime then.
Well,
we should organize a debate between Trump here and Toad. I think
a Trump Toad ticket sounds like Trump Toad. That sounds pretty good. It's got the alliteration. It's got, sounds pretty good.
At least Trump's up front. I'm not going to VP to anybody, Ian.
What's that?
I'm not going to VP to anybody, Ian.
I know you won't.
All right. So
but yeah,
you won't?
You make that debate.
No. I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you would be the VP, sir. You misunderstood.
No,
Toad's the candidate. Trump's the VP.
No, you're saying Trump should be the VP to Toad?
I think Toad should go. Yeah.
That's what you think, Brad?
It might be your way to get another 8 years.
He's younger, yeah.
Yeah, you could be in the White House and you could really be running things.
Well, I mean if you think about it, you're thinking about it that way, Ian. I could be in there another 8 years
12.
then another 4 years. Yeah. 12 years.
There you go.
12 years. You could,
this is starting to sound like a really good idea if we really want to drain the swamp and destroy the deep state.
Yeah.
Right.
We get you in for Toad's VP for 8 years, and then you come back. I mean, sir, you've said it yourself. Your mind is getting sharper with every birthday.
It gets sharper with every birthday and every draw of oxygen.
See a couple comments here on Rockfin that I've missed here. We have Denver Attaway. The only place I got COVID or the flu was Taco Bell.
What was that?
The only place that Denver got COVID or the flu during the lockdowns was at Taco Bell.
Well, that's too bad. I love their tacos.
It was a menu item. It was 99 cents.
The only place what?
That he got COVID, which he calls the flu at Taco Bell.
Yeah, I don't know where I got it. Every time I got it
at
like
Denny's.
3 times.
I got the Denny's variant.
Yeah, it didn't affect. I was lucky. Like it didn't. I was like no issues. I had a little stuffy nose, and that's it.
Did you put your mouth in your hand after you grabbed a pussy without a?
Well, yeah, I started
That was
touching
a
everything.
pancake.
Started touching. I go to the grocery store, just run down the aisle, touching everything, both sides.
Yeah, hell yeah. We have pre-COVID, they redefined the culture with shock treatment and stress and private equity control of hospital operations. What happened in COVID is actually like really fucking crazy, and I think that's why it got so heated with Hornberger. Just he seems to be brushing it off, and you can't brush it off and be taken seriously.
Well, there were a couple people in your audience that were like, "Stop bringing up the vaccine."
Somebody did say once it got to like a right at the precipice, somebody in the crowd goes, "Stop talking about the damn shot." It was great. I loved it.
Other people are unruly.
Yeah, I mean there are more pressing issues. That's what I'm getting at with it.
Brad
Let's
ran
look ahead.
the most
Let's look ahead.
entertaining debate I've seen all year.
Yeah.
And I've watched all of them. I've watched them all with you guys.
Yeah, it'll be
Brad's
out tomorrow.
debate was the best one I've ever seen.
It'll be out tomorrow. And
Did you debate, Mr. President?
I mean, I came out there and I
he doesn't need
roasted.
to. Yeah, he roasted. He doesn't need.
But I mean, I'm calling out that toad. I'll debate him on national television.
I would like to see a Toad versus Mr. President, former president debate. I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
We should try and arrange that. So, unless you have any other things that you want to address about the debate, Mr. President, I think we can move on. And any final words?
I do want to say this: that Conyers McDonald's. You can.
Conyers.
That's where it was.
The debate was. It was at the Conyers VFW. That McDonald's was a 5-star McDonald's. I'd give it a Michelin star if I could. And,
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to give out Michelin stars, at least not yet. When I'm elected president on day one, I will hand out Michelin stars to McDonald's of Conyers.
He got me McDonald's at like 10 p.m. and then he got me Del Taco at like 2 a.m. The president.
Same night.
Yeah, same night. So Georgia Tech beat North Carolina tonight for any basketball fans out there. It always happens. We should have to always do shows when Tech plays because that's the only time they ever win.
Carolina? Really?
Yeah, they beat
God
Carolina.
bless those Yellow Jackets.
Now I got to keep watching them the rest of the season. I just want them to lose badly so I can just stop watching them altogether. Super Bowl predictions. So we have the 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. You know who was in the Super Bowl in 2020?
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Really?
Were they?
Yes, they were. Yeah.
I stopped watching the NFL after the kneeling.
I think the least racist team should win.
Well, so a lot of people think that, right.
49ers.
A lot of,
I think the most racist team should win.
Well, you
The
would,
49ers.
Ridgeway. That's a terrible thing to say.
I think that everybody thinks they're going to rig it for Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they can do that because even if it's not rigged and Kansas City wins, everyone's going to think it's rigged because of what's her name, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, Mr. Pfizer.
The Taylor Swift Chiefs.
I can really relate to this subject. I feel like I can really relate to this subject better than anyone.
We'll weigh in then.
I mean, they rigged the election. You don't think they can rig the Super Bowl? They rig everything.
You know what? I
Yeah.
think they did. I think it was going to be Baltimore versus the 49ers. And then right at the last minute, they changed it up.
Why would they do that? I'm just
Because
curious.
I found out.
No.
He found
Oh,
out.
because you
about it.
found
I found out that
He
the
whistled.
you
school-
were onto them, and now all your
Yeah.
work.
So Tits McGee says something that I was wondering if this would happen too. He said Taylor Swift's surprise halftime show. We have Usher there. Would Taylor Swift do it? I don't know. Could they possibly do that? It would really be obnoxious.
Oh,
if they
from
did.
the stands. She'll be mic'd up, and
Uh-huh.
from the stands, she'll be
Ripper.
sitting there the whole time in the box.
Yeah.
And then the halftime show will start. Spotlight
Right.
just on her, and she'll be like, "What? Me?" And it'll
Yeah.
start like on the kiss cam or something.
And she
and then
goes to zip line down to the
Yeah,
field.
zip line. She'll kiss Mr. Pfizer. Right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
She makes out with police.
Mr. Pfizer.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then
They get jabbed.
Then
left
they
and right.
everyone gets jabbed. They start shooting hypodermic needles.
They
at
shoot
people.
vaccine hypodermic needles.
Yeah.
Exactly. Vaccine guns.
Ow,
No
ow.
t-shirts. Everybody in the crowd gets a vaccine shot at them.
Yeah.
I
So
would love
something
to
like
see
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dude,
so
when she zip lines, she needs to like stick her legs up in the air like this.
she's got a huge
Just
bush.
going down the whole way.
Yeah. Yeah. Just knocking people
Very
over
good
on the
there,
way.
Rick.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
This is why I think the 49ers have to
love
win,
you.
because I think that's the only way they can convince people.
I'll see you in the morning.
Mr. President, your mic is still on.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Are you saying goodnight to Melania?
Yeah, just saying goodnight to Melania. You know, her bedtime is 9:30, mine's 4 a.m.
Oh, she stayed up late
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she wanted to hear the show. She likes rooting for me.
Yeah. So I think that a lot of people are talking about how Taylor Swift is going to be used to swing the Democrats with the younger generation.
That is the stupidest fucking strategy I've ever heard of in my life.
I mean, I think there's something to it.
Really?
Because they'll have her be a spokesperson.
I mean,
for,
Swift
It's not going to
strategy.
change anybody's mind.
It's a CIA experiment. It's the Swift strategy.
Oh, it's so stupid when they do this shit.
I think it's more likely. I think that they might try that. They're saying Biden has a endorsement from her on his wish list. I think
Fucking
that
cares.
I think they
Right
could
now, his
use
wish
her.
list like he's waiting on Santa Claus.
Yeah, she is Santa Claus. She's going to bring all those young people to Biden. He loves to smell all of them, and then they'll vote for him.
Yeah,
But
what
I
is
think
it with them in the sniffing?
And do you think people will show up at precincts wearing like Swifties will show up at precincts? That's what they're called.
Dude, that'd be a
Swifties,
marketing camp. That'd be a smart
Yeah.
marketing campaign. Show up as a
NC.
Swiftie.
right? Show up as a Swiftie, get an extra vote.
Yeah, and you make a selfie
Yeah.
video of it
You
if
get,
you're
and
yeah.
get 2 votes. 2 votes
right.
for
You
the
get,
price
to
of
vote
one.
twice. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
I think she could lead in the changing of the Kansas City Chiefs name. I think she's more likely to do that than change the election.
Yeah.
Is
To the
she-
chefs. Just drop the I. Call them the Kansas City chefs.
Yeah, she calls it out, and suddenly
There you go,
Cleese
right there.
becomes a champion of the Kansas City Chiefs, and they wear big helmet
Yeah,
hats.
Yeah.
Man, I would like. I can already see that cartoon mascot in my head bouncing around the fat little chef.
And making a Swedish chef.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
the
until
Kansas-
everybody's like, "You racist! You did that to the Swedes."
Yeah, but it's against
can't be-
white people, dude. so
Yeah,
you
Swedes
can
are
be racist.
the Swedes are the whitest of white people. It's where white people
Exactly.
come from. They crawl out of the Swedish ooze and go and infect the rest of the world.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
how it
dude.
happened.
They go right to Africa.
Yeah. Yep.
So, you guys been fought. Well, actually, I want to show you this, Mr. President. Justin's with us too, by the way. He hopped in and, while we were talking. This E. Jean Carroll story,
Yeah,
where
Justin, I want to take the time to put you on the spotlight and welcome you to 45 an hour later since you've been here.
Thank you, Mr. President.
so, Mr.
Oh,
President, you've been. They've found that you need to pay this E. Jean Carroll lady who says that you raped her,
That's her attorney.
and that's the CNN guy.
Whoa.
Okay.
Her attorney's some dopey woman
Whoa.
who says that you have to. I don't even know. You have to pay her some astronomical amount of money now. They say, and
83 million.
Well,
don't know if
did you
I'm-
know that she told all these people she was going to buy them jet skis and cars and all that?
She's not. You appealed it though, sir. So it's not
Yeah.
gonna.
yeah, she's talking about
It's
what
a
she's going to do with the
ridiculous
money
amount of
here.
It's a
Yeah, that's
ridiculous
what I'm
amount.
talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so here she talks about what she's going to do with the money.
I love it.
Shopping spree.
Here, it might not be the right timestamp, but we'll listen to all of it anyway.
And his legal troubles has been politically, he only seems to get more powerful within the Republican Party.
That's her
Um,
lawyer.
I understand
That's
you've been
her.
focused on the trial, but do you see that? Do you have concerns, not based on your trial specifically, but just about the fact that this person who you've stared down in a courtroom has only gotten more powerful as all of this has played out, and you've won repeatedly in these cases?
It is a paradox. For him, the courtroom was not a courtroom to him. It was a campaign stop. That was clear. So we had two different objectives. Ours was to win a case. His was to win voters. We'll see how that plays out, that he's using me to win voters.
So that's her proposition. They sued him, right? They sued him and brought him into court. And he's using her to win voters, even though she just got awarded some hundreds of millions of dollars. But he's using her, is her argument here.
Yeah.
It's sexual assault. A man found liable for sexual assault is using the woman he sexually assaulted to get votes.
You may soon, though, have
She
quite a
sounds-
bit of his money.
I'll stop it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I spent years and years as a bartender. She sounds like someone who I've overserved, sitting
She
there
sounds
babbling
drunk.
on
Yeah,
to
she
me.
does.
I'm sorry. I'm going to my expert opinion as a bartender.
She's hammered. She's hammered.
She's
That's what I'm
also
saying.
Fucking
high.
hammered.
Yeah.
She's also high on 10,000
I've
cc's of
served this
Botox.
person over and over and just wish they would leave my
We got
bar.
so Tits in Denver agree with you. Tits says this bitch reminds me of Nancy Pelosi, and Denver says she looks like an alcoholic and sounds like one.
Yeah, 100%.
And absolutely, and again, found liable is that this is a preponderance of evidence in a civil court case, and the jury instructions from the judge, where it was a biased judge, when you look into the background of it, was basically if you find that he in any way poked her arm, that is assault. So, so that is what he was found liable for. The rape part of it, they did not. They disagreed with that, so they did not find him liable for that.
Right.
And this
Yeah,
is the whole
because I was
story
working out with Tobin.
with Tobin.
Yeah, I'd go and work out at Tobin's house.
You're talking about the Supreme Court judge,
No, me and him would work out with Tobin.
right? You're talking about boofing.
Yeah, but we'd be working out with Tobin.
Good night, Grumpy.
Goofing.
Right. Yeah, they would boof together and work out,
Now, he was doing all the boofing.
which is flatulence. Although I think people sometimes understand it as butt sex. I don't know which definition you're going by here.
Flatulence.
Okay. All right. Now here's what she says she's gonna do with the money.
To get votes.
You may soon, though, have quite a bit of his money. And I wonder how you plan to use that.
Oh, it's inspiring. We talk about it a lot. We're going to do good with that money. We're going to do. Mary Trump has suggested we turn Trump Tower into an animal sanctuary, for instance. A joke. That was a joke, Poppy.
That was a joke, Poppy.
No, but we're inspired to do not waste a penny of this, and we have some good ideas that we're working on.
Specifically
Yeah,
aimed at
she is
what
hammered.
would oppose
She does seem hammered, doesn't she?
Hammered. Absolutely hammered.
Well,
Trump.
Donald Trump.
But she's a professional drunk. That's
She
why
is.
she's able to hold it
You know,
together.
she sounds like Robert Evans, kind of.
Who's that?
Yeah, a little bit like Robert Evans. I get that.
Robert
sure.
Evans.
Sure. Yeah.
She also told Anderson Cooper that rape is sexy a few years ago.
Hates
Yeah, I
women.
remember that.
Remember the New York Magazine, the famous quote when they said, Don, what do you think of women? He said, women, they're not worth a piece of crap. Remember that quote? And so I think one
Is
of
that
the
a
things
quote?
we
Did you
could
say that?
do, seeing as how
What
he's
was going on with her face?
She's got whatever Joe Biden has. They have the same
yeah,
thing.
melty brain
They got
syndrome.
melty brain.
She's got-
They both
yeah.
have melty brain.
Yeah,
MBS.
MBS.
Well,
Yeah.
melty brain syndrome.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, they do. She's got the same thing.
What do you think this guy is looking at here? He's looking down. He's not listening to her.
Well, I saw another one of these things. It was like a morning talk show with these two. They're going on the networks, you know. They're going on a tour, and what they brought up was they were going to go on a shopping spree and buy sports cars and jet skis and
Right.
all these fun things.
Yeah. She's gonna set up a women's center because you hate them. It's gonna be just nothing but pussy hats. Which I think we should go with the idea we had, Mr. President. We should make the MAGA pussy hats.
MAGA pussy hats.
Yeah, I think
Get
it'd be
yourself a
really
MAGA pussy
popular
hat.
amongst female Republicans.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
so-
Sure.
A couple comments that are relevant here. Lacey Lou says on Rockfin, I thought boofing meant men using their butt as a pocket to sneak drugs or contraband as a pocket pussy or a pocket prison wallet.
Okay.
But
Butt
yeah,
pocket.
yeah, butt pockets, many a prison purse, many names for it. Tit says you can die from your butt chugging too much alcohol.
Yeah, butt chugging was a big
Yeah, be
phenomenon.
careful with that Ridgeway.
It was a big
Too much
phenomenon.
alcohol up
Yeah,
your butt.
Justin, you're about that age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. People start chugging all that.
You're the
liquor.
youngest one here. We need to tell you.
Are you sitting on a bottle of wine right now, Ridgeway?
Are you slurping it
Yep.
up? Yeah, gross.
So are you going to end all butt chugging deaths?
I mean,
Mr.
you know, I day one making butt chugging illegal.
Okay. At the federal level, huh?
At the federal level,
Wow.
we gotta legalize butt chugging, but then
That's
there's gonna be a big butt chugging black market.
right. What are you gonna do about
Across
that?
the whole conundrum.
There'd be a bunch of butt chuggers coming across the border.
Yeah, there's a lot of butt chuggers coming.
What are your thoughts on the border, Mr. President? This
There's
standoff.
a lot of butt chuggers coming across the border, just like you said, Brad.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's a huge problem. They say I didn't build a wall. I built a wall. I just didn't build the whole wall.
But what about in Texas, Ian? I know you've read up a little bit about what's going on in Texas. What are your thoughts on that? The standoff between the federal government and the Texas National Guard.
I don't know how much I really know, but I mean, I get. So one of the things is that I did learn was that apparently the Supreme Court didn't say they couldn't put up the razor wire, barbed wire, all those things. They just said the federal government could take it down. That
Right.
was essentially what it is. So everything that's been planned. I mean, I'm, whatever, man. I'm all for it. I'm all for this kind of. There's obviously there's obviously something funny going on down there at the border. There's all these people coming in. I'm not really.
Yeah, they're murderers. They're
No,
rapists.
yeah. I mean, I'm not really one of these. I get it. I think I'm not sure I understand if there's a consistent libertarian position on this or not. I know that
sure
in
There's some
theory,
conflict, I think, in the party.
yeah, I think in theory, I get the theory. In an ideal world, you want to have open borders. However, we have open borders in the United States between the states, and I think I'm totally cool with that. There's freedom of travel there. I'm kind of like, well, if you don't have a border, then what is your country? I'm kind of in that camp,
Right. So, maybe there's not some conflict there. And if anybody, I don't know if those guys are still listening or not, but I know that some of the candidates I know are pro secession and are, like Texas should secede from the Union. And nullification, I think a lot of them are pro. And so I think like if Texas is their own, Texas should control their own borders, but you can have open borders elsewhere. I'm confused around the position on that as well, and it's hard to. So I think that's which is a volatile issue. So that's one that like I think it would be good to have clarity on, and maybe it's just my understanding of it, but
Look, I agree with Ian. If you don't have a border, what's the point of sovereignty?
Well, so Hornberger, his border position is open borders, and I know that Josh is he wants to get rid of all the social programs and whatnot as well. I don't know where he is on. I think I think he is. Texas has the right to protect their border. I don't know what that means when it comes to if you're fully open border. What if a state secedes? So they're no longer part of your nation if they secede. Of course, we're a long way from that. But it just gets into some.
I would want to ask. There's a couple. I'm open to hearing all kinds of things about this, but what I would want to ask are the leaders of these other countries. For instance, Mexico has one of the largest inexpensive labor forces in the entire world available to them. Why are they unable to create jobs for themselves in their own country? Those are the questions. I mean, there may be a reasonable explanation to
Taylor
that.
Swift.
Taylor Swift, Mr. Pfizer.
Yeah.
No, there may be a very reasonable, believable explanation. I just don't know what it is. And I haven't Googled it.
Right. And I agree with Denver. He says a lot of what's going on there is all PR because they're focusing on that Shelby Park area. And, I don't know what's going to happen there. I saw an article about how there's a lot of people because they're sending all the truckers down there to go line up and block the border or do something for Texas. They're worried about there being feds. They should be worried about that because there's definitely going to be a lot of feds there. This is almost another January 6th type thing going on, but it's different though. It is different. I'm not quite sure what is going to come of this. If it's going to lead to some sort of call for secession, I don't think it's going to trigger a civil war, but we're heading that way.
I just don't think we are headed towards a civil war. I understand that we talked about this. America's too fat to have a civil war.
Right.
There's just it
Yeah, yeah.
wouldn't happen. Everyone is too fat. Everyone would run out of breath and give up. The
I
minute
mean,
people
I've,
got uncomfortable, the Civil War would be over. I just don't. I just don't buy it.
Right.
I've never never heard of a president ever say that he's going to turn his F-18.
Yeah, you're telling me you're telling me that an entire country that locked down for a year after being asked to be locked down for 2 weeks is going to have a civil war? I just don't see the evidence in past behavior that that's true. Where would this come from?
Well, so my thinking on that is, let's say it's kind of so Gordon here says Shelby Park is a giant distraction. There's 3 miles of border. Meanwhile, Texas has 1,200 more miles left that are open. That's correct. Is that if you have this little standoff happen down there and a bunch of people go and they stand with Texas, kind of like a lot of people went on January 6th. I told people multiple times on the show before January 6th, I said, it's a setup. There will be feds there. You will get arrested for doing nothing and they will put you in jail. I said this multiple times on the show. I was right about it. And this seems like it could be a similar PSYOP situation where you have people come down there, they create some conflict.
There's an interesting ruling that just came out from Canada that just said that Trudeau was not allowed to have cut off the truckers' bank accounts. Right?
Yeah,
their Supreme Court. So it's interesting timing for that to come out.
Actually, that's good that happened.
I agree, but it is interesting timing. Is that good or bad for motivating people to come to this thing?
Totally. So like I worry that they're going to cause some conflict between these people and the federal government that ends up in the people who embrace the conflict with the federal government end up in prison like the January 6th people did, while the federal agents are perfectly fine. And if that were to happen, that would move people closer and closer to being willing to get up off the couch and fight in some sort of domestic conflict.
It could happen, but I just don't see it as very likely based on the people I see every day driving to work.
World War III or Civil War more likely to happen first? What do you guys think?
Well, I want to give
we're already in World War III.
I want to say hello to I want to say hello to Gordon Shumway in your audience. I'm a big fan of yours, Gordon. Big fan.
You said big fan of Gordon's?
Gordon Shumway, yeah, big fan of his.
He's got the Alf profile picture.
Nice.
Yeah, that's who Alf is, Gordon Shumway.
Oh, yeah.
It is Alf. You have Alf watching your show, Brad.
Yes, I didn't know that's the
I'm a
actor
big
that plays him.
fan. It was actually a reality show. Alf is real. I don't know if any of you know that, but that's part of the top secret documents.
I didn't know Alf was real.
Yeah, he watches your show. He's here.
Alf, I appreciate he's got 2 stomachs, so he can eat more delicious dinner than the rest of us can.
I know. He loves to eat cats, though.
Yeah, he's going to get himself a bacon, lucky, and tomato.
All right, so
bacon, lucky, and tomato, BLT.
Let's get out of here. Let's do
All right.
Let's lighten it up doing what's it called? Florida Man story. The the smoking gun. Then we'll get out of here. I think that's an interesting subject. And Jack Burton says we're living in the U.S. of Gladio, talking about Operation Gladio. Everything at the federal level is complete theater. It certainly seems that way.
Wait a minute. Did you say Jack Burton?
Yeah, Jack Burton. You know Jack?
From Little China. China, Jack Burton.
Is that what that's from?
You've got another secret operative watching you, Brad.
Well, maybe so. I appreciate the attention if that's the case. All right, here we go.
People think they're fictional characters. They're not. They're real people, and they watch your show, Brad.
Well, I'm glad to have Alf, and I don't know.
You can skip the pet gecko one. I
don't want to see the killed gecko.
Little
I don't want to see that.
So let's do a vote for the 4 of us. We have and in the chance we have which smoking gun story we're gonna go through. Naked woman in convenience store rampage. Seems like a pretty good one there. Then we have Circle K clerk battered with chocolate egg.
wait, hold on a second. Say that one more time.
Circle K clerk battered with chocolate egg. And then we have woman killed pet gecko in garbage disposal.
I don't want to see that.
Sounds brutal.
Yeah, no thanks.
Mississippi mother in viral Walmart video arrested for child neglect. Sounds real serious.
I know two of them that I definitely want to hear. I want to hear two of them.
Then the last one, the top 5
Yeah.
here is man tried to swap drugs. Oh, we did that one. Swap drugs for fried
Yeah,
pickles.
I vote for the Circle K, battered and fried with chocolate egg.
All right, we'll go with Circle K, battered and fried. I'll make that a little bit bigger there.
I wanted to hear that other one.
Well, maybe it's short.
We'll go to another
Maybe
one.
it's short.
But I gotta go soon, guys.
Circle K clerk battered with chocolate egg. Victim hit in forehead with thrown sweet treat is the headline. It's happened on January 26th. It says, quote, "What are you in for? Assault with a chocolate egg." A Florida man was arrested Wednesday after allegedly striking a Circle K cashier in the forehead with a thrown chocolate egg and then hopping the counter to further batter the victims, cops say. According to the criminal complaint, you can see the guy here. I mean, the guy looks like he's in good shape.
With more chocolate eggs, so he jumped over and kept smashing chocolate eggs.
I don't know. I like to hope so. Edward Riordan, the convenience store worker, tried to check out John Mayhaus as he was next in line. However, for some reason, Mayhaus refused to let Riordan handle the transaction. Instead, Mayhaus walked over to another employee, rendered payment, and then threw a chocolate egg towards the victim, hitting him in the forehead. So the guy didn't like his cashier.
Oh my God.
Goes to another cashier, and then after he's done, decides, I got to pelt this cashier I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if this is a race thing.
Wait a minute. What are the two guys, Mihash and what?
Yeah. We don't know the other one's name, but
Yeah, we don't know.
Mihash is the one who committed the crime, and Riordan is the convenience store worker. So this is a white guy. I don't know. Riordan, maybe.
I dated a girl. Her last name was Riordan.
What'd she look like?
She look like that guy?
I like this next. It doesn't indicate that if the egg was
No.
Cadbury, Kinder,
Where
or
does it say that?
a lesser Hershey concoction.
What about Reese's? Those Reese's eggs are really
Oh,
good.
yeah. It says the complaint.
I hope it was the Cadbury one.
Yeah, because then he'd
Yeah.
Yeah, so
get the egg all over him.
Yeah.
he walked towards the other employee, rendered payment, and then he threw it, hitting that guy in the forehead. And the complaint does not indicate, as you said, if the egg was Cadbury, Kinder, or lesser Hershey concoction. After Riordan asked him to leave the Circle K, Mijas, seen above, this guy, became irate, cops say, and hurdled the counter to push and strike the victim's face. When subsequently questioned by police, Mijas reportedly admitted that he jumped over the register counter and struck the victim. Mijas was arrested for battery, a misdemeanor, and booked to the county jail, from which he was released yesterday, posting a $1,000 bond. Mijas lives a 10-minute drive away from the Circle K, which was located in Tarpon Springs, a central Gulf Coast of Florida. So that's it. That one wasn't as exciting. He just seems to not like that other.
Riordan.
Yeah. Is there a history there, or you think it's a racial thing?
It
I
sounds
don't know. I
to me,
think the Mihashes and the Riordans have been rivals
I think
for
it's a
decades.
sexual thing.
it's a crystal meth thing.
So it could be a sexual thing, a crystal meth thing, or a
An
100
old
years
family feud.
family rivalry. You're
Yeah,
saying?
family rivalry.
Yeah, maybe it's both. Maybe it's all three.
Maybe it's all three, yeah. Yeah, then you got Grand Theft Auto.
That
Yeah.
egg looks pretty intricate, though. So
Well, that's not the egg.
No,
That's not the egg. That's
that's a
just
very-
an egg
yeah,
that
yeah.
these guys put up.
The
I
egg's
really
in
do,
the evidence
yeah,
room,
I just hope he kept breaking Cadbury eggs on him. That's a funny visual.
forcing him
This
to eat the
mugshot,
Cadbury
though,
eggs.
This mugshot, though, the guy's like, yeah, so what? I'll do it again.
He
I'll
looks like
do it again.
he looks like
I'll-
he's throatening to shove Cadbury
so
eggs.
what?
Oh, you
I
give me an
threw
egg,
it
I'll
in.
throw it in your fucking forehead, bro. Yeah, yeah.
No, that guy's armed with
Whatever.
Cadbury.
I wanted it.
All right.
Fucking going down.
All right, so naked woman convenience store. Then we're out of here. Naked
All right.
woman,
Oh,
a
no.
convenience store
Oh,
rampage.
no.
That's
Oh,
her
no.
right there.
God,
You
is
see
that her?
Yeah, she's
Oh.
super hot, right?
Wow.
Would
she
you?
looks
I
like
hope they
Andy
have the
Serkis.
pictures.
She's Andy Serkis is dressed as
She kind of is. Yes.
Mr. President.
Would you? Yes or no,
No, absolutely not.
Mr. President?
I mean, you put a bag on it.
Mr.
That's how you get
President,
those red marks on your hand.
you
Mr.
can't say
President.
things like that when you're running for office, sir.
Justin, would you?
What I what?
Would you what?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would. Oh, good. All right.
You're insane.
Oh,
You are
yeah,
insane.
yeah.
Yeah, would
Yeah, I
you?
would without the bag.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're insane.
You got no bag. All right.
Yeah.
A naked woman
are
wheeling,
Justin looks like one of the Three Musketeers.
kind of. A naked woman wielding a sharp-edged vegetable peeler.
I think she talks like this.
Probably. Threatened a convenience store workers, destroyed a Red Bull display, and masturbated in front of the sheriff deputies before being taken into custody last night. Let me read that again. A naked woman wielding a sharp-edged vegetable peeler threatened convenience store workers, destroyed a Red Bull display, and masturbated in front of sheriff deputies before being taken into custody last night on a variety of charges. Have you guys ever done that?
No. I mean, and I want to know for how long did she masturbate in front
Hopefully
of
they let her finish.
Yeah, hopefully they let her finish. That's a polite thing to do.
Maybe that's the only way she can get off.
Maybe she's a CNN employee.
Maybe she's a Jeffrey Tubin.
Yeah, let's see what that.
Can you imagine that?
What
So
Like,
wait, she was wielding a potato peeler?
yeah, you walk into a convenience store, there's
It's
a woman.
a sharp-edged vegetable peeler. It says here that she was booked on a variety of charges, which means they didn't have enough space in this article to write how many different charges.
We can actually pull up the document and see if there's anything we missed here.
I think all of these should be.
He was
we should do-
exposing her sexual organs. That's
We
what the
should,
news story said.
We should do like reenactments of all these.
You can play her, Mr. President.
Hey, fuck you, Red Bull. Fuck this Red Bull.
Yeah.
I'm gonna masturbate. You stay
I thought
back
she
now.
tore the display down like while she was masturbating. She was like, "Ah!" And
Yeah,
she,
she was
backed up into
keeping
it,
people.
like-
She was keeping people at bay with the vegetable peeler.
yeah.
Lacey Lou says in my city, a cab driver got caught naked in his cab right in the street in the middle of the day. Monica and I, once we were leaving WSB, there was a bus stop right there to the right of it. And there was this 10 at night, and there's just a guy just sitting there jerking off at the bus stop.
Wow.
So we gave him a ride, obviously.
Of course. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. The article goes on to say investigators allege that was that Celia Barrett, 35. She looks like she's 50. Caused a drunken disturbance Sunday evening at the racetrack. Upon arriving at the store, Barrett began yelling about being trespassed from the business prior that day. On Saturday, police warned Barrett that she would be subject to arrest if she returned to the racetrack, as detailed in a series of criminal complaints after Barrett, peeler in hand, showed up at the store around 6:40 p.m. So she went there with the peeler, and she threatened two workers, one of whom told police that she said she would kill him. She
I'm
then
a Julianne, you motherfucker.
Yeah, she then so they had a history of conflict. She then proceeded to topple and break a display of Red Bull energy drinks and spill cigarettes from a carton that she tore. So she's dumping cigarettes. It sounds like she's creating a series of Home Alone-like obstacles. When officers arrived at racetrack, Barrett was still inside and still naked. Prior to be taken into custody, she began masturbating in front of the deputies, a cop reported.
Hey, I like the way that Gordon Shumway thinks.
What'd Gordon say?
Mhm.
In your comments down here.
You're talking about Alf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Her, Alf and Trump 45.
You're talking about threesome with her, Alf, and Trump 45. You'd have a three-way with this woman and Alf?
Wow.
Gordon, I'm coming over. Give me about 45 minutes.
Well, what is Alf? What sex does Alf?
Oh, that'd
have
be a
with Alf?
four-way.
Yeah, he's got all
That's a
the
three-way.
All right,
If
wrapping
you're
up.
adding this Gordon dude, then it'd be a four-way.
Barrett reportedly admitted to being intoxicated. Did they ever have to tell us that? Like, the story would be that they were sober.
Is Alf Ridgway.
She reportedly
Alf
consumed approximately
And
6
Gordon are two
shots of
different
liquor.
people.
All right, so this woman took 6 shots and did this. That seems like a low amount of shots.
Yeah.
And she was charged with aggravated assault, disorderly intoxication, criminal mischief, and exposure of sexual organs. And she's being held in the county jail and she has a rap sheet of prostitution, criminal mischief, and so this is just like somebody who just, whenever she comes into conflict with somebody, she starts like, pounding her mouse. Like that's just her. She doesn't care anymore. A long line of prostitute. What do you guys think of this woman?
I think I could probably
Great.
save her.
I
I could turn her around. I think.
What's crazy is
I
there's
just think
somebody who reads that and says, I can save that. Just like he said, that's my girl.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Anyone who works at a convenience store, I'm like, how? Like a convenience store is definitely a terrible. It's like, I think maybe that, and then maybe being a bartender in like a Somalian pirate bar, a village bar, would also be as dangerous as being a convenience store worker.
Yeah, Troy says store clerk is one of the most dangerous jobs you could possibly have. Dana says not very appealing. Yeah, so I would like to be invited to this woman's wedding. I imagine she always has drugs on hand, and I want to know what the past beef she had with this convenience store is.
Well, ever since her license got suspended, she can't drive to the other one.
Who thanks God every day for that. We
Right.
we used to have people come to the theater that were a little bit crazy like that. I mean, all of us were crazy, but nobody ever masturbated in front of us when the police showed up, though. Unfortunately.
No.
So do you guys have any closing comments before we get out of here?
I mean, I think Gordon Shumway and I could save that woman.
You guys can have be in a polyamorous relationship? Is that what they call it?
I mean, I
got to get going.
All right, see you, Ian.
All right, later, guys. Of course.
Yeah. Do you think that Melania would be okay?
She likes furries.
Melania likes furries.
Yeah, they're interesting.
Yeah, right. Now, Aram says if she was given alcohol, she'd probably fellatio. He said it another way, assuming police didn't get called. And I do wonder about that because you have these crazy people there and you have this woman doing this stuff to her. There's got to be a couple creeps in there who are thinking, all right. And how do you prevent that? Maybe she was just trying to find her a nice officer who maybe could make an honest woman out of her.
Just give them a little preview, like,
yeah,
here's what
you're gonna get. We'll come to the convenience store, and you can steal some cigarettes and Red Bull while I play with myself. Mr. President?
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea, Brad.
Is that you gonna run on a platform that makes that legal? Will you pardon this woman?
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to waste one of my pardons on her. If I didn't waste one on the Tiger King, I'm not going to waste one on her.
The Tiger King was going to run as a Libertarian, but he dropped out or something. I think he's still in jail. That. You would have loved to have gotten to interact with him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you want to talk about polarizing people? That is one polarizing person.
Is he still in prison? I don't even know. What is he in prison for? Do you guys know? I don't remember.
I think he tried to kill that woman.
Is that what he's in prison for? What that documentary said that he tried to, but they say she tried to kill him, or that's what he claims, right?
I mean,
I don't know. I don't know the story enough to talk about it.
Who knows what's going on? You can watch it. It's on Netflix. Ridgeway, did you watch The Tiger King?
No, I did not. No.
I didn't either. I only watched a little bit of it. So,
but that's what the show is sponsored by.
Justin,
Tiger King.
What are your final thoughts? Just on anything in life in general. You jumped in late. I'd love to hear what.
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Jumped in late.
You think all's right with the world?
I think everything's great.
The country's never been more united.
We've never been better. Everybody gets along with one another so well.
Right.
Everything you read online, everybody's so nice to each other.
What are your predictions for the 2024 election?
I can't wait. I hope. Well, I was gonna pitch this idea to you. All right. I already pitched this idea to Brad, so
let's hear it.
Just hear me out here, all right? What if you are Biden's vice president.
Would you do that?
No,
Would you do that?
absolutely not. No.
Hold on now. Hold on.
You guys get to sleep in race car bunk beds.
Yeah, you gotta sleep. You gotta stay in the White House together. You gotta sleep in bunk beds. You know, and just think about it. He'll be sitting up there rambling around, and
You
then
can
you get
swap
to go and
wives.
you get to go put your hand up on his shoulder and be like, "Don't worry, Joe. I'll take it from here."
I'll
You
take
know,
it
and
from
you
you,
just
Joe.
you just shoo him off. He's mumbling off. He's like, "What
You can
Joe
carry
won?"
him off like a baby. You'll look like a
Yeah.
hero.
Yeah.
You can
You'll
feed
be like,
him.
"What Joe was trying to say."
You guys are out of your minds.
You don't
You're
think
out of
that's
your
like
mind.
a
I think that'd be
5D
great.
chess move right there? You get to be Joe's
Mhm.
savior instead of Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
You guys are
I
out of your
agree.
minds.
You
They're
can
gonna get
feed
Big
'em?
Mike in there. They're getting Big Mike.
Big Mike, you talking about Michelle
Big
Obama?
Mike.
Michelle Obama might can beat you if she comes in there. I think it would be smart of her to reveal the penis.
What?
I think she would earn more votes by revealing the penis, because what a better time to reveal that Barack Obama is gay officially and that Michelle Obama has a big old penis than right now. No better time in history.
Jesus, Brad, you didn't have to be so descriptive.
I'm just saying, if you're going to reveal it, this is the time to do it. Nobody could criticize her. The mainstream media would applaud her. They would make it a holiday. This is why I think you need to come out as trans first, Mr. President. America first and trans first.
You got some wacky
That could
ideas.
be a good
Brad.
one too.
That's all I'm saying. Would you consider
Yeah.
doing that?
Yeah, I think you should really consider that.
You got some wacky ideas, Brad. You know,
So
I
you-
like Gordon Shumway's idea though.
Where it's the platform is going to be
Deport all illegal aliens except for Gordon Shumway.
Yes.
You know,
except for-
Gordon Shumway is a great American. I'm gonna give Gordon Shumway citizenship.
That's your platform. Citizenship for Gordon Shumway. Gordon says Alf is 224 years old, has a lot of experience. I think that means Alf has a lot of high body count. You okay with that? A lot of high body count. Mr. President, you don't care about that, do you?
What, he's killed a lot of people?
No, he said sex with a lot of people.
Yeah, come on.
You okay with that? All right. We're gonna get out of here. A lot of STDs, JC says possibly, but STDs are different on other planets, so who knows? Might give you superpowers for all you know. Everybody might want one. All right. Thank you guys for joining, Mr. President. Thank you for hanging out, Justin. Thank you for hanging out. We'll do it again. And I think we've lost the president. I think he's doing his Biden impersonation. And we will talk to you guys next time. Have a fantastic rest of your day.